sloppy metric so
Yeah.
that American wrenches will still fit and round off the corners and
Oh,
Yeah.
snap the socket, and you're and the wrench will slip off, and you got bloody knuckles.
Yeah.
Roll the rest of your
You know what else I've noticed is like that is some of your audio jacks now are some of them are in millimeters and some are in inches.
Yep.
And when you get them to fit into your sound card or whatever, I buy some and they fit really loose, and I buy others and they fit really tight. And I'm finding out that there's a difference between whatever 3 millimeter and quarter inch. And I'm like, I thought a freaking headphone plug was a headphone plug, but not anymore apparently.
No,
it should always
No.
be 2.5 millimeter, right?
Yeah.
Whatever it is, yeah, I just made up
That's
numbers.
yeah,
If I don't know numbers, I just make it up. I used to
there
work
you
for the
are.
government.
Oh boy, that's sounds
There's
like
only 3 countries in the whole world that are still using inches, and it's us, the US, and some Mickey Mouse little country in Africa, and I think it's Burma out in Asia.
Oh, there you go.
All the rest of the world are all metric. Ireland's the place to go. That's magic there because the speed limits are in miles an hour and the distances are in kilometers.
Oh wow.
That really confuses the shit out of you.
Oh my
only the
Lord.
Irish.
Yeah.
Well,
Are we there yet?
I'm one of those people that hates change. So I've always hated the metric system, but now that I'm in amateur radio, it seems to work a little better with what we do here. But man, I don't know. I don't want my whole world going to that. I don't think.
Well,
Yeah, but it's
see,
odd because your money has always been metric.
yes, and I was about to
Yes,
say
it's
that.
always on denominations of 10. You're absolutely correct.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. When they were talking about that, and I was in high school, the cashiers were going nuts. They thought that we were going to have to do something with our money and go to metric. And I says, it's been metric since you were born, and you
Yeah.
were old, and you were old then when you were born, and
Yeah.
yes, they just didn't get it. That
Metric, as we all know, metric's just base 10. That's all it is. All right,
Yeah.
I got the YouTube going. We are live on YouTube. I'm showing that we are anyway. I didn't get the customary page come up though. I don't think. Oh yeah, I did. Maybe this is it. Oh yeah, there we are. Okay, yeah, we're on. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Go ahead and view. All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is the Southwest Florida TechNet. My name's Ian, and KO4EFS is my call sign. And I'm here with Joseph, KM4OVZ, who's in the process of doing one of the funnest things humans ever get to do in their lifetime. Ever, ever, ever. And that's right above Disney, moving day. And so, yeah, it's fun stuff. So your thoughts and prayers, Joseph, and cardboard boxes. Anyway, so we got all that going on. I wanted to just mention a few things. The Southwest Florida Tech Team newsletter went out earlier today, and there's been a couple of big changes, and I wanted to just bring everybody up to speed on that. I've been trying to find better ways to produce the Tech Team newsletter. I normally just put it all in an email, and that doesn't allow me to be very creative because I can't place pictures within articles and things like that. So what I've done is I'm using Google Word, and I'm making the newsletter in Google Word now, and then I simply save it as a PDF and download it as a PDF right out of Google Word.
It's actually Google Docs, isn't it?
Yes.
Google Docs, you're right. Word is the actual Microsoft one. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. It's Google Docs. And as much as the G in Google, it's just, I don't know what to tell you. I have a love-hate with Google. I don't like how they track all our data, yet I'm not an international drug smuggler. So it's kind of one of those
You just
things
look
in the
like
middle.
one.
I just look like one. I just play an opinionated jerk on the radio. That's all I really know.
You may hear me refer to Google as gargoyle.
Yeah, I mean, G Google, G government, it's kind of all the same thing. But when it comes to services like our call screen at work, is just a Google Doc that we all have a link to. And no matter who's coming on the show, where they're at in the world, that we all look at the same Google document, and it has the lines on the left, who's on what telephone lines, and we just and you can see all the different people typing on the call screen at the same time.
Yeah,
I the living
that's the real
document.
beauty of it right there. Multiple people can edit the same sheet.
Let me tell you what, you got to do a budget with somebody. Do it on Sheets, Google
Yeah.
Sheets.
Yeah.
And you send that link to everybody that's working on it with you. And then you go in and just right click and put the formulas in. This equals this plus this plus this plus this plus this. And you put it all in. And then you guys can sit there in real time and play with that budget and see the bottom line moving. You can even set it up to set a condition that if it goes below 0, it turns the box red and things like that. It's really cool. I actually, my last 2 years at the fire department, we did budgeting on the computer, and back then that was a big deal. And today it's really easy. It's all on Google. But I just wanted to bring that up that we're now on a PDF format. So when you see it, basically what it's going to come up as just a PDF. I'm going to show you guys here on the other screen real quick. When you pull it up, you can also just look at the one that I send you in your email, or you can not download that. If you don't want to download it, you just want to look at it. I get that. All you have to do is click the link or go to the website and click the newsletter button right there. See that? There's a newsletter button. You guys are seeing that, right?
Yeah.
You click the newsletter button, and they'll bring you to this page, and there's the newsletter. And from right here, you can save, you can download a copy for yourself, you can go full screen, and you can sit here and look at the entire thing right here without ever downloading it. It'll serve it right off of our website for you. And you can, and with this new format, I can make it look really clean. I can make each page come out really nice. And so this is what I'm going to be doing it like this for a while. If anybody has any input, please send it to me or let me know.
Well, you want to know what about it right now? Your link to the Google Doc doesn't work.
Yeah, when you said where it says click here on the email, that doesn't work.
Yeah,
Okay,
it goes to Google Docs, it tries, but then it pops open a message, but it doesn't fill in who to send the
Yeah.
message to.
I have no idea. That was a link to not
Did
a
you-
Google Doc. That's a link into the website. That should be a link into the website. I don't know why it's trying to bring you into a Google Doc or something.
Well, then you cut and pasted the wrong thing.
Okay, well, it worked when I clicked it, so I don't know
For
what
me,
to tell you.
It was really weird for me. I was on my phone and I clicked it in the Gmail app, and it actually made the Gmail app like swap email accounts. I have
That's
no idea
weird.
why it would do that, but that's what it did for me.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still working on it. It's a work in progress. There was a copy of it attached to the email as well. So
Yes, that
that
opens.
all that link did was it was supposed to bring you to this page, to newsletter. It was supposed to bring you to this link right here. That's all it was supposed to do. I don't know what it's doing. Another reason why I don't want to send it through Google Mail like that anymore. Google Mail messes with the links. It messes with everything. When I send it in a PDF, you're looking at the actual PDF, and you click full screen, you're reading this PDF. And then if you decide you want to click on something, if you want to see something and you want to click on it, you can just click on it and it'll bring you right to whatever the article. That's not doing it because I'm in full screen or whatever. But anyway, you can click right on it and it should bring you right to that website in a new link. You see what I mean? So that wherever you're at in there, when you see a link in the PDF, all the links work in the PDF. So if you want to see what this is, you click it and it should bring you right there. There you go. Anyway, there you go. I understand that link's not working for everybody, and I'm going to go back and look at what I did wrong there. Anyway, all right, good enough. The next thing I wanted to show you guys with this is I changed the name of it. Okay. We've changed the name of it to Tech Team Newsletter, the Tech Team Newsletter. Why did I drop Southwest Florida? Well, because this has taken on more of an international thing. What I realize is there's not that many really like people that are into ham radio like we are. There's just not. And so this needs to be more of a national effort here, and we need to get people from all over to do this. And Joseph's wanting to start a tech team up there. I'm supporting him 100%. We're going to be working with that, and we're going to be working together as sister teams, basically. And I'm going to be looking to do these anywhere that we want to do them in the future. If we got 2 or 3 guys get together, want to make a tech team in your town, they're not meant to be big things. They're meant to be intense. And I'm looking to do that. So that's kind of something I've been thinking about. Now I'm acting on it, and we're going to be changing. We changed the name of this to the Tech Team Newsletter, and we may eventually change the name of this net to something more broad that doesn't have SWFL in it or Southwest Florida. We'll always be the Southwest Florida Tech Team because we're the tech team here in Southwest Florida. But as far as the Zoom meeting that we're on right now and the newsletter, I'm wanting to make those more of a national thing. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm basically just taking Southwest Florida off of those 2 things. The newsletter already, and eventually this will be changing as well. It's a little bit bigger of a job. All right. Does anybody have anything on that they want to bring up? Okay, I'll move on. I hope everybody enjoys the newsletter. If anybody wants to write for the newsletter, if there's something you want to provide for the newsletter, you want to write stories about what your group does, I'll be glad to publish them. You want to write some thoughts about ham radio, I'll publish them. I'm looking for input. I'm looking for editorial. I'm looking for news content. Anything you guys want to provide, whether it's a source and you send it to me and I use it, or you write it yourself and I attribute you, however we do it. I really want to make this something big. Okay, the next thing is tonight we're going to be doing something I think that a lot of people I think should find this pretty fun. We're going to be talking about restoring old radios. And again, I think something that maybe a lot of you may or may not have thought about in the past, but when we're talking about amateur radios, a lot of the fun is the old radios. When I first got in, I was buying these brand new Chinese radios because they come in the box and you take them out of the bag and they smell good. But what I'm realizing is, it's all that Chinese air, so good. But what I'm realizing is,
addicted to that stuff.
What I'm realizing is I like the older radios. I like the older Kenwoods, the older Icoms, the older Yazoos. I like that kind of stuff better. Uzai, Yazoo.
Oh my gosh.
Yahoo!
I don't know.
Did it right already, man.
No matter how I say it, everybody changes it for me. So I don't really care.
No one changes.
Yoo-hoo.
Yes.
I'm gonna start calling them fusion radios, and
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
Wires.
Yeah, the analog fusion radios.
A new radio.
But anyway, but yeah, I find the old radios to be a lot of fun. So we're going to do that. But before we do that, there's one quick announcement I do need to make. Tonight is actually, believe it or not, tonight is our 1-year anniversary on the air as the TechNet. This is our 52nd episode, and that makes us 1 year in broadcasting. So next episode begins our new year and will be episode 53. So I just wanted to bring that up to everybody, and thank you guys, especially Dallas and Dave and Rick and some of the others, and there's a bunch of different people, and of course my co-host Joseph, to make this possible. I know we're real light tonight. I don't know what happened. I don't think the emails went out right or something. I don't know, but it's okay. I've only got, I think I've only got one club right now that's putting our stuff out beyond what I can put out, and it is what it is. You would think you would get a lot more cooperation in ham radio, but that's not the case. Especially when they think you're trying to piss on their parade. All right, anyway. They don't like that. All right. So I'm going to turn this over to Joseph. And Joseph, once I turn this over to you, I do need to step away for a few minutes. I drove straight here. So there's several things I need to go take care of. Uh, but I literally came off the air, jumped in the van, drove here, pulled out, walked straight into here, plugged the computer in, turned it on, and you saw me. So yeah, it's
Now it's
crazy.
time for a word from your sponsor.
Yeah, it's time. It's yeah, that'll work. Except
All
we don't
right.
have sponsors. We are nonprofit here, but anyway, and I like nonprofit because you know what? We make a lot of money at my radio station at work, and commercial radio is a lot of fun. But you know what? Non-commercial radio is even more fun, I think. So anyway, tonight we're going to talk about restoring old radios, and Joseph's going to talk about cleaning buttons and knobs and removing dirt from faceplates and fixing common problems with old radios, aligning and testing old radios, updating old rigs with new tech. And if you guys remember, we talked a while back about relighting. I'm sure you guys will get back into that a little bit about backlighting and stuff. And so we're going to be talking about this for the next hour or so, hour and a half, however long we do it, doesn't matter. And then I got some stuff after that. Plus, we're going to take your topics. And I got news, traffic, and weather. Some neat stuff with space weather, but nothing real big going on right now. The tropics are quiet. I'm going to drop the tropic report in about 2 weeks. We're not even going to do those anymore. So that's pretty much over with. And it's going to be cold this weekend. It's going to snow in Florida.
What?
We're getting down to like 59.
Oh,
No, I'm kidding. We are. There's actually Lehigh and Buckingham could actually see a morning low of 48 or 49.
Wow.
On Sunday morning or Monday morning. Yeah.
People are going to die.
I mean, you
They're
could
freeze
literally.
also.
You are 20 degrees from frost, my friend.
We have frost here already. We have ice.
We go entire seasons without ever getting frost here. Ice on the windshield happens like every other year. So this is the tropics down here. We don't get any of that stuff. I saw a flurry in a police spotlight one night. I was on a traffic stop with a partner out off of Burt Store Road up in North Cape, and we decided to let the people go on a warning. And I was finishing writing the warning in the spotlight. You know how you got the spotlight on the police car? And I saw the snow flurrying. And I'm like, I looked at my partner, I said, "It's a snow flurry." And he's like, "Oh my God." And we're all out there, and the people got out of the car, and we're all looking at it with our flashlights, and it was like,
No,
"Oh
you
my
don't have your
God."
tongue sticking out trying to catch snow on your tongue?
I saw it snow in Cape freaking Coral, dude.
wow.
All right, anyway.
Jeez, I thought Biloxi,
Stick.
Mississippi was a big.
And when you say, did it stick? Well, it wasn't big enough to hardly see. So, but it was floating around. Anyway, all right. So there we go on that. That's about all there is. I'm going to turn it over to Joseph now, and I'm going to go take my little break. You guys have fun, and I'll be right back.
Oh wait.
Go ahead.
I can't do the presentation. Hold on. Let me
Oh, let me turn this off.
navigate over there.
Make sure you can share.
Should have thought about that a few minutes ago.
Oh, well, it don't matter. I can run it for you if you need me to. But
No, I'm gonna do it.
you gonna do it? Okay, good. That's even better because then it's gonna be hard to run it from the bathroom.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I mean, I got a USB extension for the mouse cord. All right.
As long as you don't take the microphone with you, we'll be all right.
Or the camera for that matter.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
I'll leave this here.
Actually, one of the emerging secrets about working from home is that people are working from their toilets.
That's right. And there's some of the videos of people doing stupid shit on Zoom is funny. But let me tell you guys, I wanted to just say real quick while he's getting his slideshow ready to go. And when you're ready, Joseph, just go ahead and kick it on and we're going to start. But I just want to tell you guys, I bought an Alinco 110 radio at the swap shop. Joe gave me a great price on it. It was like $20. And I brought it home. And I'm thinking that's a really good price for like a 10 or 15-year-old radio. Well, it's like 27 years old. What a great little radio. Everything is long press, short press buttons all the way across the front. I love it. And it's putting out a full 45 watts, just like published. And it's a great little radio. So Alinco, I didn't know much about Alinco, but I did some reading. pretty good radios, man. 26 years this thing's been percolating, and it's still percolating. So, all right, I just wanted to bring that up. All right, Joseph, over to you.
Okay. Is there an echo? I just want to make sure there's no echo in my audio.
You sound perfect.
Not too bad.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
I want to preface all of what I'm about to show you by saying I am not a super reliable source for this kind of stuff. If anyone knows better or thinks it's something I'm doing here when I restore these radios is bad practice, definitely let me know, because I don't want to be giving out information that would be bad. I have restored several radios now, and I do the same thing pretty much every time, and the results usually come out really nice. But I'm always looking for ways to make this better. So if you have any suggestions for how to improve upon any of this, please let me know. So I've restored a bunch of radios. I've restored a handheld, and I've restored like 3 different mobile radios. And I love using old radios. Something about them. I like the physical buttons and switches instead of navigating through 20 menus. You know, having like a flip switch to change the offset direction and a knob to turn to select the tone. Like, that's just pretty cool to me. I like the physical buttons and switches on these older radios. So that's why I like them. So I'm going to show you how to clean the buttons and knobs, remove the dirt from the faceplate, and all that weird stuff that gets on there after 20 years of hard use. Aligning and testing is one thing I don't know too much about, but I know the basics of how to do it, and I have done it. So there's a little bit of information about that in there. And then updating old rigs with new tech. So this is talking about batteries and tone encoders and lights and stuff like that. Putting modern technology into an older radio to make it work better. And then, so we're going to go with all the cleaning, and then we're going to go to the electrical parts at the end. There are 2 things that I find very useful when I restore a radio. And number 1 is an ultrasonic jewelry cleaner. You can get these for pretty cheap. They cost like $30, I think. And then Q-tips, because those are great for getting in between like speaker grills and stuff. Those work really well. And then dish soap is like the agent that I use with all of it. I know there's like better options. You can get like real cleaning solutions and stuff like that, but dish soap seems to do fine every time. The ultrasonic cleaner uses like a piezo diaphragm, so it's actually vibrating the water at a very high speed. It's almost like water. It's actually kind of cool. If you have it on and you have the water with no soap in it, you can actually see like the waves on the water. It's almost like radio. And they usually use it for jewelry because the way it works is it actually kind of gets dirt and debris out of the tiniest cracks that you could never clean normally. It just kind of like dissolves it almost. It's kind of amazing. And so if you put parts for radios in there, it works really well, because radios are kind of like jewelry in that they have a lot of little nooks and small cavities, and just they had a lot of them just attract this stuff. And especially after 20 years, you know, your knobs and switches that were once, you know, looked like chrome are now brown. And that's pretty gross. I wouldn't want to use a radio with 20 years worth of dust and skin on it. It is especially useful for push to talk switches, because these often have like a grip pattern on them with like little ridges and stuff, and that will get just full of dirt. And then you put this thing in there, put the switch in the water and turn it on, and it just cleans it in like 30 seconds. So what I've done for today's presentation is I've actually documented from start to finish one of my most recent full restorations, which was a Kenwood TR2500 handheld radio that I actually got from the swap shop. And it was pretty bad when I started. I have some pictures, but we're going to go through all that and just kind of talk about each step as we go, and go from there. So here are 2 pictures. On the left, we have the before picture, and you can see that there's a lot of, I want to say like fabric fuzz. I don't know if that's spider webs. I don't think it's spider webs. It looks to me like maybe
some kind of grady stuff.
Yeah, it's like fuzzy, and there's a lot of dirt and dust on there, especially in the offset switch. There's just a lot of it. And you can see it on the logo. The logo's kind of yellowed a little bit, and there's, you can't really clean in between the letters very well. and underneath like the squelch knob and everything, it's just pretty dirty. So, and on the right, we have the after picture, and you can see it's cleaned up beautifully. It almost looks as good as it would have on day one. Certain things just can't be fully restored. Some of them will just lose their color. Metal parts for some reason, like the headphone jack, you can see it's sort of turned like a slight green color almost, and it's got like this grainy pattern on it that I don't really know how to remove. I have another radio with the same problem here, a TS440S HF radio, and the microphone cable, the metal part is not shiny anymore. It's got some kind of problem with it. So the first step when you're doing this, I like to get a clean space. My workshop tends to be just like a pile of stuff, and then I push the pile of stuff over and just start working on something new. But for this kind of thing, you kind of can't compromise. So I have this on top of my little bookshelves. I cleared everything off of there, and I have a white surface, which turns out to be very useful because there's a lot of little screws, and if you lose a screw, that can be a problem. So I also have a magnet. The little red thing there is a magnet, and that's good for sticking screws on. And you just pull them all right off, because putting a radio back together, you always end up with one extra screw or one too few screws. And a magnet helps with that a lot. A magnet bowl is another option. I like magnet bowls as well. So what I'm saying here is you got to remove the screws. In this case, there's 4 screws on the back cover holding the 2 halves of the radio together. That's usually what I do first, but obviously the second step would be to pull off all the switches, because a lot of these switches and knobs will prevent you from taking the whole radio apart because they're actually in between. They're usually stuck onto a potentiometer, and if you start trying to take it apart, you'll bottom out on the switches. So taking the screws off and taking all the exterior buttons off that you can are probably the first steps. They're kind of interchangeable, but that's just how I happen to do it this time. Here you can see I'm removing the 2 volume and squelch knobs. This radio didn't actually have that much that needed to be removed besides that, because everything else was kind of inside the case. But HF radios especially, they have a ton of switches on them and knobs. Knobs are the main thing. Switches you usually don't have to remove, but knobs you usually do. So yeah, screws out and the knobs out. You got to take the radio. You have to pretty much separate everything. So the first step in separating the whole radio apart is what I do is look at the circuit board. In handhelds, they get banged around a lot, and this one actually had a speaker wire that was broken. So that was one of the first things I noticed when I took the cover off. And then of course, obvious signs of damage like a short circuit or like a burn mark on there. If I saw a burn mark on the circuit board, I might forgo actually restoring the radio, because I know, hey, this thing isn't going to work. I did actually power this on before I started taking it apart, so I knew it worked. But stuff like that. I usually look for signs of obvious catastrophic damage on the circuit board. And a lot of radios, almost every single 2-meter 440 or HF radio I've ever taken apart has got a wire going in between the top half of the cover and the actual circuit board, which will keep you from taking them fully apart. So microphone and speaker wires are a big problem. You usually just got to unplug those so that you can actually take the 2 halves apart and fully disassemble it. Remove all the buttons. So when you take the faceplate off, there's usually more buttons underneath there, and if you want to get those cleaned, you got to pull them off, and they usually come off of the buttons pretty easily. You just like pull them straight out. Some of the buttons and knobs will have like a little Phillips head in the side of it. Sorry, not Phillips head. You'll have to stick a really small Allen key in there and actually loosen it. That's something I've seen a few times. And then I collect all the little buttons. You can see I have like 4 or 5 buttons here. I put them in this little glass bowl I had because you don't want to lose those. Those are very important. So keep taking the radio apart, and your goal is to get all the electrical components out of the chassis bits that you want to clean. So if there's a top and a bottom cover, a faceplate, usually the faceplate is all you really need to clean. The back of the radio is not as important. I mean, you could dust it off and wipe it down, but you usually don't need to do much more than that. So the faceplate is the main thing, and you want to just take everything out of there, a complete full disassembly. You can see here in the picture, the finished product with the front, back taken off, the keypad taken off, and the top of the radio also taken off, the little plastic inserts that house all that stuff. In the front of the radio, behind the speaker grill, there was actually like a sort of like a foam filter kind of thing that you can leave in there even when cleaning it, because it'll dry out fine, and it hasn't degraded. I thought some of these parts would, be turned into dust after 20 years, but no, they were fine. So in this example, I left the foam insert in. Same goes for speaker mics. I've done what do you call a like the talkie bit, the microphone? Because I know you call it a speaker mic if it's like for a handheld, but I guess you just call it a microphone. I've left the little foam insert in there, and that gets a good cleaning as well, and it dries out fine. So this is what I did for this project, and it didn't turn out to be all that good. It made a little bit of a difference, but I could have skipped it and just gone straight to the ultrasonic cleaner. I put some warm water in a bowl and then a little bit of hydrogen peroxide in there. I had heard that was good for cleaning, and I had used it in the past for cleaning other things. So I just thought I'd try it. I used a Q-tip, and I kind of tried to clean the speaker grill out on the front of the radio. It did help. The physical contact was pretty good. I don't think the hydrogen peroxide really did all that much. Without it, I don't know. It made a difference when I did it, but after I saw how good the ultrasonic cleaner did, I wasn't sure if it was really worth it. So keep that in mind. Now you want to take your ultrasonic jewelry cleaner, and these things are awesome. This one here, it only costs like $30, I think, and it works amazingly. If you want a little bit bigger one, it's going to cost more. If you want to put like a large faceplate in there, the whole thing in there, you're gonna need a pretty big one. Or you could like put half of it in and the other half. But this one was okay. This is what we had. And so I just started putting bits in there. I put some dish soap in, and then warm water. And you just kind of put whatever you want to clean in there. Once you start this thing, if you actually watch it, the first time you use it, it's kind of amazing, because you'll just see, like, as soon as you turn it on, this like cloud of dirt just kind of puff off of every surface. And it's like, man, all that stuff was on there. So it's pretty cool. When I did that, I put it in there for about 30 seconds is usually all you need, but I usually run it for about 3 minutes just to get it really like nice and clean. But 30 seconds, it usually doesn't make much of a difference after that. So in the picture, you can see I'm lowering the front of the radio in there, and I have the each bit in there. When I do a different, hold on, yeah, that one's in there. So when you switch between pieces, if you do the whole front cover, and then you do the back cover, in between those, you want to change out the water, because it's going to be gross. In the picture, you can see I have the keypad cover and the top of the radio in there as well. Turning the parts over,
or some dishwasher soap.
Yeah, I have dish soap, but not really dishwashing soap. It's a little bit different.
Yeah.
There's probably something out there that would work even better.
I'm talking about something like Dawn or something like that.
Yeah, that orange stuff.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. We have that at work. That's some good stuff. But if you're putting this in there, so the little waves come up from the bottom of the machine. So if you're putting something in and you make it face down, it'll clean a little bit more thoroughly, because it's getting a direct impact from the ultrasonic waves. Make sure you put the push to talk in there. This thing was like brown when I put it in here, and it came out gray. Like it looked brand new when I pulled it out. Then you want to put, all your buttons in there. I run everything separately, like I said. That way you have clean water every time, and you do it in batches. So it works pretty good. I just dump everything in here. You do have to be careful, though, because if you dump all the buttons in there and the switches and knobs, don't pour this thing out in your sink without a strainer or something, because you're going to have a little bit of soap in there. So it's going to be a little bit of foam, and it's going to be really easy to miss these things. So what I usually do is I put a strainer or a colander in the sink, and I pour it into that, or I try and get as many out as I can and then pour it. Because if this thing goes down the drain, you're gonna never getting it back. Be very careful with that. And if you stir the parts around as they clean, it helps it kind of get every surface and angle. pretty much most of what I do involves this thing, and it's worked so well in the past. I don't see a lot of people using this. I've looked up how to restore radios before, and I hardly ever see anybody using this. And the other thing is it doesn't damage the parts. If you use certain cleaning solutions on there, if you use alcohol or certain things on certain surfaces, you can rub paint off and kind of and mess up stuff. But this thing doesn't really have much that you don't really damage anything with it. It's really good. You can actually stick your finger in this thing while it's on, and it'll clean your finger, and your finger will feel very dry for a few hours. And yeah, while the things are going, I usually put them for 3 minutes. So while they are 3 minutes, not 30, while they are cleaning, I usually take the bits out, the electronic bits, and I use an air compressor. In this picture, I'm using a piece of a canned air thing because the air compressor makes a lot of noise and there were people sleeping. But be careful if you use an air compressor, because some of these machines will actually blast out moisture after they've been on for a while, or something causes them to occasionally blast out a cloud of moisture. And you don't want to do that on a radio. So just make sure you're not sending out any water. But you do want to blow these things out because there's going to be dust in there. And if there's any kind of conductive anything in there, maybe a little piece of a solder or a little short wire or something that somehow ended up in there at one point, this will hopefully get it out. Because if you turn this thing on and you've got something shorting in there, it's going to be pretty bad. All right, once every part is clean, you got to put the radio back together. And I say take a lot of pictures before you take this thing apart. As you're going, take apart pictures. I know that the keypad on the front of this radio, I took a picture beforehand so I know where everything went because it's all the same. But yeah, definitely take pictures as you're taking this thing apart, and take pictures of the circuit board too. I have in the past actually been saved by having a picture of the radio. When I first got it, I had that Kenwood 7400A, really good radio. It was having a problem with it where it wouldn't transmit, and turn out the finals were blown. But there was something else in there that I thought looked like a burn mark on on one of the components, and I was like, oh no, did I fry something? So I went back to a picture I had from the day I got it and compared the two. And I realized that, yes, that mark was there before and the radio worked then. So that was unrelated. It wasn't really that bad of a mark either. It wasn't like, oh, something exploded in here. But having pictures from day one are really good that you can look back on it and notice any obvious changes. And then once it's all back together, you can see how good it looks. I have a few more pictures in here of how good it looks. The knobs you can see are bright and shiny. They were kind of brown before, and there's a lot of dust in between the grooves. Now they look like brand new. They're made out of chrome. Sorry, they're nice and shiny like chrome. They look great. The little buttons on there that you push in, even though those have like a kind of like a sandpaper surface almost. It's a weird surface, but those are like nice and clean, almost brand new. And the front of the radio looks so good too. Like, see, before here there was so much dirt. Even that's the other thing, these stickers on here that go behind the buttons, those are stickers, and if you try and clean those, I was trying to wipe them off, and I noticed that the corner of one of the buttons was actually it was messing up the sticker. But when you put in the ultrasonic cleaner, the water doesn't make the sticker come off, but it gets it clean without destroying it. So that's another big plus of the ultrasonic cleaner. You can see in the before picture how much dirt and nasty stuff there was in between the buttons. And now it's like shiny, clear. The yellowing is gone too. That's the other thing. I did not use any solution on the front of the keypad besides dish soap, and the yellowing is gone. It looks almost brand new. It's just amazing. The radio, yeah, so once you've done that, yeah, the radio looks great, but you may still have some problems. And I noticed that handhelds especially, I see a lot of people saying that handhelds will be off frequency, maybe not as much as a base radio for whatever reason. I don't know why. I knew this radio worked before I restored it because I gave it power and it turned on, and it was making a transmission. I could see it with the software-defined radio. But it was off frequency a little bit. Oh, yeah. So what I did was I actually used my RTL SDR. Find a known frequency like the weather station, and you can use in SDR Sharp, and in every SDR program, there's a PPM offset function where you can actually go in there and tune the dongle so it's frequency for so that you don't have to, like you can see in the picture, it says 162.400.150. This dongle was 150 hertz. off frequency. So that had to be fixed. And once it was, then you can actually go and transmit with the radio. You got to kind of do a weird thing here. You got to transmit into a dummy load or just the HT antenna. And then you got to find your tuning potentiometer. Now, every radio has a service manual. And if you find the service manual, you can usually go down to the bottom of the manual and it'll give you all kind of information for tuning. So I actually went in the service manual and I found the actual potentiometer that does the offset tuning. So I stuck a little screwdriver in here. This is not my picture. I got this from YouTube, but you stick a little screwdriver in the back here, and while you're transmitting, you watch the scope, and you just turn it one way, and if it goes lower in frequency, you turn it the other way, and it goes higher in frequency, and you just try and get it centered on a frequency. I did notice that when you went to like the lower end of this radio's frequency coverage, it would be like above on frequency. It'd be too high. And then if you went to the top bit of the range, it would be too low. And if you went to the center, it would be right on. So sometimes you might want to find like a medium here, because it was kind of weird. The potentiometer in this radio wouldn't let you tune more than a certain offset. You couldn't just keep turning it and keep tuning further and further down. It would kind of start to come back the other way if you kept turning it. So you may want to like take samples of high, middle, and low, and then try and find a balance where they're all as close as possible, because you can be off frequency by a few hertz and still have no problems talking. It won't make any difference when talking into a repeater. This radio also has a potentiometer here that you cannot see in this picture, but that allows you to set the PL tone. This thing actually has a built-in tone encoder, which is kind of surprising for such an old radio. This was, I think, it went into manufacturing in 1974, I believe. So that's a pretty old radio to have a tone encoder in it. And since everything in this area is 136.5, it made it really easy because I could just put in 136.5. SDR Sharp has excuse me? Go out. Hey, go out. Go out. Go out. Sorry. Get out. Sorry about that.
Could have invited them in. We wouldn't have mind.
She was asking about brother. That was my little sister. Anyway, everything here is 136.5 hertz. So setting it was really easy. As I was saying, SDR Sharp has a really good plugin you can install that actually tells you it's a CTCSS decoder. So whatever tone is currently being transmitted, it'll show up on the screen. So I just tuned to my own signal, and why is no coming? Oh my gosh. Tuned to the transmit signal of this thing, and it just read out the current tone. And I just sat there with the little screw and I turned it until it read 136.5. This is not going to be as useful when I move because a lot of the repeaters up there have different tones. So I'm just going to set this to something that works with most of them and just use that. So that's pretty much the end of the restoration for that handheld, but I do have more information here. There are a few more common problems with old radios that I see a lot, not just from my own experience, but from watching other people work on these radios. Crackling potentiometers and ones where you have like dead zones. So I know Ian had a new radio he got a while ago where the volume knobs and the squelch knobs don't work unless there's like pressure applied to them just right, and then they work. And if you turn them too far one way, it cuts out. That's a pretty common problem. Another problem that is very, very common is no receive audio on a citizens band radio. Believe it or not, I do want to put a side note in here. CB is actually kind of making a comeback, I think. I've been listening to it a lot this past week, and I've been really impressed. As long as you don't go on channel 6, which is where all the just screaming and yelling is. Most of the other channels actually had like civilized discussion going on, almost like here on the ham bands. It was actually really interesting because I know that it's gotten a pretty bad reputation, but I feel like it's almost making a comeback because it was nowhere near as bad as I was expecting it to be from everything I've heard. And I used to listen, turn it on and see if I could hear anything. And whenever Skip would roll in, I'd go on channel 6 because that's the only place I heard any activity. And I was like, man, is this really what CB has become? It was just unbelievable. But now in this, at least in this local area here, it's actually become pretty good, I would say. I've talked on it a little bit. And there's actually some pretty nice guys who live up in the Babcock Ranch area, and they talk on there almost every night. They're fun to listen to. So that's kind of why I'm including CB in this, because I do think restoring old CB radios is another really cool thing, especially if you're like a hobbyist going for like the 80s, theme on a lot of things, and maybe you have an old car or something, putting an era correct radio in there can make it even cooler. So there can sometimes be no receive audio on a Citizens band. I'll talk about that. Static but no receive, that's another one. No receive audio at all. I'm gonna talk about that. And then batteries for handhelds. When you get an old handheld, that battery is gonna be shot for sure. And I have a way around that. And then tone encoders. So that's another thing. If you have a button switch or potentiometer that is not working or is acting weird, switch cleaner or electronic cleaner, electric contact cleaner. This stuff is amazing. I had that shortwave DX150B shortwave receiver, and several of the bands on the band selector were not working. I went and got this exact stuff here in the picture from the auto parts store, and I sprayed it on the contacts and worked them back and forth a whole bunch, and it came to life. This stuff really works great. It's made in a way that does not cause shorts. It's not conductive, and it evaporates very quickly. So this stuff is really good. It'll even give you like a little sprayer on there so you can get in the potentiometers. So yeah, if you've got a bad switch or a bad potentiometer, which a lot of the old radios have, this stuff right here will save you from having to completely replace a potentiometer. If you have a CB radio and you have no receive audio, the microphone might actually be the cause of this. The CBs often use the microphone as part of the receive circuit. It has to be present in the system for it actually to give you any kind of receive audio. And I actually have a radio somewhere around here that has that problem. The microphone itself is something wrong with the contacts and the push to talk switch, because when you transmit, it actually disables the receive circuit, activates the transmit circuit. But if it never gets that unkeyed signal, it will not go into receive. It'll just be in this weird state where both receive and transmit are off. So get out your multimeter and do a continuity check between the pins on here to make sure that it's actually functioning as it should. If you pull the mic plug out of a functioning radio, and it'll go silent most of the time. I still don't know why they do that. I don't know. It doesn't really matter, but it makes it a little bit difficult if you're trying to rewire a microphone.
Hey Joseph, there's
yeah.
another cleaner that you can use for your contacts and your volume controls and stuff, and that's deoxit.
Yeah,
I use that a lot.
Yeah, I got some deoxit here.
Okay, that's great.
So WD-40 contact cleaner.
Oh yeah, there's that stuff too. That's great. Thank you. I will if I need, I will maybe use that one day.
It's all work.
Another problem that I have seen a lot, not on any of my own equipment, but I like to watch videos of people restoring CB radios, ham radios. There's a few YouTube channels who do videos where they just pull up a radio and they're like, all right, we're going to fix this thing. And they go through everything and they show all their steps. And electrolytic capacitors, they die a lot and they can affect the receiver a lot is what I've seen. I've seen many times where the capacitors all need replacing. So if you're getting static out of the radio, but you're not picking up a signal, even a strong signal, it could be the capacitors. They might all need to be replaced because they go bad after 20 years, 40 years. Some of these radios I have are like almost 50 years old, which is really crazy that they still work. But yeah, check your capacitors. You can get kits on Amazon. You can buy a kit for like $10 and it has like 30 different kinds of capacitors in there of different values. And just buy a couple of those kits and you'll have like everything you could possibly need. Same goes for like diodes. Amazon is so cool. I've ordered like 4 kits off of there. I got a kit that gave me transistors. So now I just have like, if I ever need a transistor, I've got like 40 different kinds of transistors and they give you like 20 of each. So you got plenty. And they cost like $10. It's kind of amazing. You can just get mass quantities of stock components and go in there and replace them. It's kind of like a must-have thing if a radio, because I've used parts from there. I've built stuff using the transistors. Absolutely amazing that you can get that. And then batteries for handhelds.
Yeah, back to capacitors for a quick one.
Oh, yeah.
Capacitors will leak, and they will damage the PCB, the printed circuit board. So it's a good thing to look out for. They will actually leak as they get older, and they've been renowned on some Icon machines, really not too old ones, like the IC 746, the original. That has a problem with its capacitors leaking, and then making its own tracks on the circuit board.
Ooh, that's bad.
Yeah. So you take them out and you just clean it with a switch cleaner, and clean it with a toothbrush or something, and then you're back to scratch. Replace the capacitors and you're good to go.
Yeah. Yeah, those capacitors will get you. I may have to do a full capacitor replacement on this HF radio I got recently, because I don't know what state it's in. It works now, but this radio apparently has a few common problems with it, and one of them is that you have to replace all the capacitors as well as diodes too, apparently. So that may be in my future. Not looking forward to it. That's a lot of work to replace 30 capacitors. Batteries, though, are another thing that never stand the test of time, and you can actually improve upon your antique radio's original performance by putting in a modern battery. Lithium ion, or in my case, lithium polymer batteries can fit that Kenwood I have. I wish I still had it, I could show you, but inside of the battery compartment, it used to have five nickel cadmium cells in it to reach a voltage of 8.4 volts. But I actually just took a 2-cell lithium polymer battery. I use a lot of lithium polymer batteries for radio control models for airplanes and drones and trucks. A lot of them use lithium polymer. So I had one of these, and a 2-cell LiPo usually has a half capacity voltage of 7.4 volts. I think it is. I think it's 7.4 volts. So it's a little bit low for an 8.4 volt system, but when it's fully charged, it's actually closer to 8 volts or even 8.2. And the radio will run off of it fine. I used that radio when I went to field day, and I just had a 2-cell LiPo, and there was a 1,000 milliamp hour 2-cell LiPo. And,
You have to have different
powered it, no
chargers.
problem. Radio didn't care, and it was lighter too, because I used to have 6 of these large nickel cadmium cells in there. They're like AA's, but a little bit bigger. Now it was so much lighter with this battery, but it didn't even care. You get more capacity. It was less. I think there was less total capacity, but it didn't end up mattering because I had it on low power anyway. It's kind of one of those things. You can put heavier batteries in there, but this thing already weighs so much. We're so used to these lightweight radios now. You go back to the old thing, and it's like, man, this is a brick. So putting a LiPo in there works out pretty good. If you're doing a 2-meter 440 radio, this is something that I have done a long time ago, back when I got I inherited this old radio, the Kenwood 7400, and it had no tone encoder, so I couldn't use it on any of the repeaters. But I actually came up with a solution that I'm still pretty proud of today. I used a function generator app on an old iPhone, and I plugged in a cable to the headphone jack. And then I actually you can't see it in this picture here, but in the side of the case, I drilled a hole and I put another audio jack in there. And then I wired the center conductor. There's this little yellow wire. I don't know if you can see it here. It says right, and where it plugs into where it says active filter. This little yellow wire runs and plugs in it. That is injecting the tone past the microphone circuit. So you don't have to worry about the circuit filtering out high or low frequencies. And it worked so well. It was amazing. You plug the phone in there, and it's like the radio had tone encoder from day one. You can buy tone encoder modules for a lot of these radios, but good luck finding them. They're long since been discontinued, and they're usually pretty expensive if you can find them. So putting your own system in there is a lot easier and can be a lot cheaper, especially if you have a dedicated tone encoder like this. These are usually pretty cheap, surprisingly. I got donated this one by, oh man, can't remember who it was. I did thank him though for it, so at least I feel okay about that. But I got donated this after I talked about the radio on a TechNet one night, and it's a communication specialist TE32, and I love this. It actually wired into the old connection that I had on the radio, All I did was supply it with 12 volts, and it runs with a single cable straight into the back of this thing. And it's really cool because you can change the tone with the physical knob, and then you have like an on-off switch and everything. It's like nice, good old analog interface there. And I did have one problem with it, whereas that I hooked it up for the first time and I tried to key up the repeater, but it wouldn't key up. And I did not have an oscilloscope on hand, so I couldn't check to make sure it was actually putting out a correct sine wave like it's supposed to. But I did check the manual, and it had a amplitude adjustment potentiometer in there, and I turned that all the way up to maximum. It still wasn't that loud. I think it's still on the lower end of what the radio expects, but it works. So I turned the amplitude all the way up and put it back together, and it works great on the repeater. Here's a picture of the original thing I did when I did the iPhone. You can see it's plugged in there. You got the cable. Using alligator clips to go into the back of the radio. And, it actually worked. I was pretty happy about that. Kind of fun to mess around with radios and get things working. So in conclusion, I think radios can be a lot of fun to restore and use. I think restoration is part of the fun. I wouldn't really restore something that I didn't plan on using. I think if there was like a really cool old radio that's kind of like collectible, I might restore it for it to sit on a shelf. But I love using old radios. So restoring them is part of the fun, because then you actually sit down and you get to use it. And it's like, I fixed this up and it works. So I'm really hoping this was entertaining and helpful. Not the most experienced with it, but it's one of my little side hobbies. So someday I'll be good at it, I guess. That's about all I have.
I think Dave had a question for you.
That's a great presentation. But my question is, what kind of dish soap did you use?
I'm not 100% sure. I think it's just kind of like off the shelf Publix brand green dish soap.
Okay, yeah, we use Dawn here. I find Dawn to be a very good cleaner. It cuts grease real quick. So anyway, thank you for that, Joseph. I enjoyed it a whole lot.
Yeah, Dawn's great. Dawn cleans birds great too. It's actually what they use to clean the birds when oil spills happen.
Absolutely.
Next week we'll do bird restoration.
Yes, bird restoration. All right. Next week on the TechNet.
Here, I'm gonna switch it over to you.
All right.
Next part of it. The news. You said you were gonna do traffic. Do you really have traffic?
Well, it's
News, traffic, and weather.
News, traffic, and weather. It's kind of a slang thing.
Hey, what is that? What is that radio in the? Oh, that's the shortwave receiver.
Yeah, I got that. I just put that right there. I'm moving things all around in here, so I'm still in the process of getting
Is that a
things set up.
Kenwood R1000?
Yeah, no, it's a R5000.
Oh, 5,000.
Yeah, that was donated by oh boy, WA4WDV. But anyway, it's been donated. We're using it for the SSTV. We're going to actually hook this up to a dedicated computer, and it's going to receive 24 hours a day on a long wire that I'm putting around the back of my property. And what we're going to do is each day, each week or month or whatever, we're going to change to a different band or whatever, and see if we can. And people can send stuff in, and you'll be able to see online if it came up.
And I gotta say,
cool
that receiver, I've done a bit of research on it and I've used it myself. And that Kenwood R5000 appears to be, from what I can tell, the end all be all best shortwave receiver you can possibly get.
Wow.
I mean, that's partly an opinion, but I have read the reviews for this thing on eHam and a couple other places, and everybody says, oh, we've got this receiver, this radio. I'll always go back to the R5000 and just say it's so good, and I can kind of confirm it because I've used it here, and it receives super well. It's like really sensitive, and it's just nice to use. It's just really kind of amazing how good it was. So I just kind of want to put that in there. If you're looking for a really good shortwave receiver, check out the R5000.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to do much with it yet, but I don't even have any of my long wire antennas up yet. So those go up tomorrow, the next day, whenever I can get my back to the point where I can do stuff. Because right now it's pretty bad. Um, all right, well, is that concludes that? Um, I just want to tell you guys what happened to me the last 2 days at work. Man, Dave, you're making me so tired with all that yawning.
Oh, sorry, man.
That's all right.
I have to hide.
Yeah.
You need a yawn button.
I got too big. I'm trying to get cameras to work, so I've got a smaller zoom angle, so I can kind of just duck out of it.
I know you have a sneeze a sneeze button at work. He needs a yawn button on his camera.
Yeah, we actually call it the cough button, but it's the same thing. Yeah, and it's just a button that simply mutes your microphone for a second, like a momentary button. But anyway, so we did all this.
Pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, it was. I love to restore old stuff and work on old stuff. I just absolutely love it. And that tone generator is really cool. All right, the headline: space weather calming down. Another postcard weekend coming up for South Florida. No tropical threats, and of course we'll do the contest. I want to open it up now before we get into the news. Is there anybody that's having any problems with anything out there, or have some? Wow, somebody's mic's open and they're breathing in it.
Dave's got a new mic today. We can hear it.
Oh, is that me?
Yeah.
Is that me?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Heavy breathing, Yeah.
Yeah, all that heavy breathing. It, from my wife, it's okay, but you, I don't know.
Well, I have got a question, and funnily enough, it relates to microphones.
Okay.
Is there such a thing as one in, many out mixers? Rather than mixers like I've got here, which is many in, one out, or two out. Mm-hmm. I want the other way round.
Okay.
I want one in, many out.
Yes, and they have that, and believe it or not, I actually I get these for clients when I'm setting up their little studios for them. Let me pull it up here and show you. What it is it's a headphone mixer.
Yeah.
Mixer. Why are you not typing?
I'm about to write.
Okay, let's see here. I want to make sure I'm getting it. There we go. There's what you're looking for right there. You've got one input and you've got 4 outputs.
For $24?
Yeah. This is the cheapest way to go. It's a headphone splitter. It's powered by USB, and you've got. Actually, this is 4 inputs, 1 output. That's not what you're looking for. You're looking for the other way around, right? You're looking for
one input, at least 4 outputs. Yeah.
Yeah. Here you go. It's this one right here. This is a headphone splitter. This is made for studios, and what this is made for is, you put your board into that far right one there, and then you can have 4 guests listening at the same time. And each one has their own volume control. But that's the cheapest way to have 4 outputs and have them controlled separately.
Oh, wow. But you can't switch them. They're all on, are they? You have to just turn them down.
Yeah, you just turn them down to 0 and they're effectively off.
Okay.
You may find one with on and off buttons, but I don't know if you'd find that. But you can see there's a bunch of different ones. There's a 4-channel. These are all 4 channels. Now see, that's the mix going in. That's the other side, like you said.
Yeah.
This mix is coming out. This is a stereo head. What you basically want is a headphone amplifier, multi-channel type thing. But what I typed in to get this was headphone mixer was all I typed in.
Okay, that's it.
But this is what you really want right here. One of these. And you can start out really cheap and see if it works for you. And then if it works for you, you can, go up to something a little more expensive. But these all probably work about, notice they're all between 20 and 40 bucks.
Yeah, I know. That's silly money
Yeah.
for something that yeah,
Well,
because
it used to be silly money till about 9 months ago.
yeah,
Now
yeah,
that's what I buy ramen noodles with.
yeah. It's just true.
Pack of damn cheese is in the grocery.
But let's not get into all that. All right. So, but yeah, but that's did that answer that for you?
Yeah, definitely. Because what I want to do is I've got a really good mixer, a really good mic here,
Right.
which is the Heil Pro 40, I think it is,
Yeah.
and it matches up with my what do you call it? Yazoos. It matches up with them Yazoos. It matches up with those really well.
It's
But
a
I don't want to.
Yazoo.
Yeah, yeah. I don't want to buy 4 of them because they're a lot of money. Because I use a mixer on the output, so all my transceivers or my PCs, my Macs, and everything all feed into the mixer and goes out to a couple of powered speakers. But I want to do it the other way now, so I can just use one microphone for everything.
Right.
So I was looking for the wrong thing. I was looking for like microphone and stuff and that, but you're right. A headphone mixer is what I want. So we'll
Now,
get cheap.
I think that'll work for you. For $25 you can try it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If nothing else, you'll have a great headphone mixer.
Yeah. Like I need.
But I've purchased 3 or 4 of those. I think I got a couple from Heil. PV makes them. There's some nicer ones. There's also some very inexpensive ones too, and they all pretty much work. Okay.
All right.
I'll tell you what, they make great for under $100 now. There's several companies out there that are good companies that are making radio station boards that have like 6 or 10 inputs on them, and they have all the sliders up and down and all the different things like a little radio station board. And on the back, they got all the plugs where you plug everything in and plug everything out. You can have studio audio. You can have everything you would normally have in a little radio station. But it's powered and it runs off USB, and you plug that right into your computer, and it also sends and receives sound through your computer as if it was another sound source. So really, really cool when you're doing radio station on the road. We'll set something like this up, and we'll set up the link through the computer to the studio, and then we'll use the USB to the board to get all the sound in and out of the board to the station and from the station. It's a complicated process, but that whole thing's accomplished by a board that's just under $100. Really cool stuff.
And what's that called? Like a radio station mixer board, or?
Yeah, let me see here. I'll find it for you. USB. Let's see here. All right, let me put this on for you so you can see it. Here's one right here. This not only is USB into your computer, but it also has Bluetooth, and it's a mini auto mixer. You can have 4 inputs. You can have 2. These are XLR and they're 1/2-inch plugs too, so it'll take either one. And it'll take this size plug in there, so you can use all the larger, the old style headphone plug, 1/4-inch, whatever. You can use that in these 2 as well, so it works great. Or if you have XLRs, it'll go in here too. And this board does everything. It plugs right into your computer, audio in and out. It's only $50. You can get a really freaking nice one for $182. I mean, it's amazing how cheap this stuff's gotten. But I mean, here's one for $72. That's from Pyle. I mean, Pyle's a known name, and pretty good stuff. And that's all you would need. You could have 2 mics if you're interviewing somebody. You have a 3rd channel here that you can get to here, and you also have other inputs and other outputs. That's a neat little board right there, and it's USB in and out of your computer too as another sound source.
What's the difference between 1 bus and 2 bus?
Well, the buses are how many inputs you have. Like a regular radio station board, each pot on the board will have, um, you'll have your microphone come into pot one. My host mic, that's pot one. Okay, I have 4 outputs that I can send them to, and basically, we have one output that's the tower. It goes directly to the computer in the back, and if the macro is correct, it sends it to the tower. Um, the second output is audition. That goes into the computer so that I can send audio to and from the computer using the second bus or the second button, which is audition. I can hit the third button, that's auxiliary. What auxiliary does is it auxiliary sends it to all of the other feed points, other computers, other feed points in the back where that audio might need to go. Let's say I've dialed somebody up on an ISDN box, which is like a two-way, an older phone box. If I dial them up on that, I not only have to get their audio, but I have to send them station audio. But I can't send them regular station audio because I can't send them back to themselves because they'll get this horrible echo. So what I have to do is I have to send what's called mix minus. What mix minus is actually everything on the station except the person. And then what they do is they mix minus on the other end. They mix their headphone back in on the other end. That way there's no delay. They hear themselves in real time through their own board, and then they hear the radio station stuff coming down the line on a quarter to half second delay. But they don't notice it because all their local stuff is in real time. And we don't notice it on our end, and I don't send him back. So whatever's in aux, everything goes in auxiliary except the guy that I've got on the remote line because I don't want to slap him back on himself. So that's what that third bus is for. The fourth bus is OL. That actually is a way we can override what goes to the phone system. And we don't use that very often, but it's available to it. So we have 4 bus outs, basically 4 outputs for each of the pots on the board. Now I've got 14 pots on my board. Okay, each pot is an input. Each input has 4 potential outputs, and you can turn on or off each of the 4. So in other words, when we're in show, my host that's in the studio in there, he's in audition, or he's in program because he's going to the tower, and he's in aux. Okay, but my caller is in program and audition because I want them to come up on 2 different meters on my board. And then everything else is in everything all the way across. And then whatever I pot up goes on the air. But it's very complicated, but it's really not. Once you learn it, you have to be able to think in terms of where's the audio coming from, and then what connection has to be made here to make it go out where it needs to go. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Right? I will once, and I know this won't help a few of you guys, but I as soon as the COVID stuff's completely lifted, I will get you guys in the station for a full tour, and also the Wink TV station and everything that's there. So for those of you who are local, we'll meet down there one afternoon at 2:00, and I'll give you guys the long tour. But right now, that's still verboten there at the station. So back to what happened the other day. I walked in yesterday, and turned the computer on, or it's on, but I signed in using this 19 character password. And I get in and I go to record my first clip, and it says, your audio driver is no longer supported. That is what started the cascade of failures that went on for 5 freaking hours. Computer after computer. They were going down faster than the 2 engineers could get to them. One after the other, Windows update after Windows update. Bill Gates, bastard.
Made the fees of a $250,000 candle.
Oh, if I saw Bill Gates, I'd kick him right in. Anyway, the thing is though, we were able to get all of them back up within an hour of them going down, except my computer. Mine died. The update was more than it could handle. and it died. So the control room computer, basically, are what we call the Adobe computer, or the editing computer that I use myself and Jake in the morning and me in the afternoon, died. So they grabbed the computer out of the Aero Studio, which you guys know is an automated station, and there's no DJs in there right now. So this computer literally sits unused. So they brought it in and plugged it in and said, "Here's your new computer. Have fun." I'm like, I'm on the air in 9 minutes. I have no clips. It's not even connected to it yet. It's a fresh computer that I've never signed into before. It has none of my passwords, none of my nothing. And I'm on the air in 9 minutes. The curtain's about to go up. And I was just like freaking out, man. I just couldn't believe it. And if Bill Gates walked in, I swear I'd drop him. And I'm not like that. But anyway, the point is I got really aggravated, and he let me vent a little bit on the air, and I put a nice plug for Linux on the air. Oh my God, I ranted a little bit. I thought, it's like, you know what? The last time we got an update, it took 9 radio stations off the air. First of all, Bill Gates, why are you doing this at 2:00 in the afternoon when our commercials are worth $150 a piece? Why? Why not at 3 in the morning when our commercials are freebies and we're playing "Don't Drink and Drive" PSAs during Coast to Coast? What the hell? So anyway, it was the nightmare. It was the nightmare. Well, I don't know where it was. It wasn't on Elm Street.
Well, you can pause those updates. Don't you do that?
They won't allow us to pause them. They had suspended all the updates because we're on a corporate edition there. And they had suspended all the updates. And then their compliance people come in and checked for licensing compliance. And apparently we had some issues because we weren't updating. And so they made us turn the updates back on. And ever since then now, about every 3 months, it's like we're in the trenches and we're being attacked by mortars. It's like they're taking them out. They start going down. I know something's wrong when I walk in and papers are flying in the newsroom and people are yelling the F word. I know something's wrong, and it's a Windows update, and it's sweeping the building, and it's turning off every sound card in the building.
It's like the Andromeda strain virus for computers.
I know these are all brand new. These are all like less than 3 years old. So anyway, Windows 11, I will never use Windows 11. I'm just putting that out there.
Wait for Windows 13.
Yeah, there you go. They'll skip that one like they did 9.
Yeah. I guess they heard that Beatles song about number 9.
Bill don't count well. He counts like this: 1, 2, 3, 3.1, 3.11 for work groups, 95, 98, XL, XP, ME, FU, SOB, 2000. 7, 8, yeah, 7, 8, 10, 11. That's how Bill Gates counts. All right. Anyway, enough of that. But anyway, so I walked in there today, and it was just like more bull crap today, and I still can't get nothing to work, and oh my God, it was frustrating. But and then my call screener called out sick, and then I had 2 guys yelling at me on the phone about how much of an SOB my host was, and why I won't put him on the air. And I'm like, you both already yelled at him once on the air today. You only get to yell at the host once a day as a rule.
Yeah,
the general rule.
That part.
Make it count, because you get 1 a day. And so anyway, I this guy was like yelling at me on the phone, so I hung up on him, and Trade said, "Open your mic up. What just happened?" I'm like, don't do this to me. I'm all pissed off. I'm like, these people keep calling me up and rah. I sounded like a raving lunatic on the radio.
So
but that's all right.
How about Flat Earth Dave? You haven't heard from him lately, have you?
Yeah.
Who?
Flat Earth Dave.
Oh, Flat Earth Dave. No, I haven't heard from him.
Oh my God.
I haven't heard from Flat Earth Dave in a while.
Oh, I love him, but I've never heard him.
You know what? How can I put this? For a guy that's completely wrong, it's a compelling argument.
Yeah.
You could tell me all day long that Swiss cheese is ham, and at the end of the day, it's still Swiss cheese. But anyway,
Would be the word. Why does that
Ugh.
phone have holes in it?
well, I don't. It was a fun segment. He made it into a video and posted it on his website and everything. So I even got up on him a little bit about the whole. You know, I told him, I said, I'm an amateur radio operator. I've actually done experiments with lasers, proving the curvature of the Earth. I've actually done, you know, radio propagation. I understand how it works. If what you say is true, then I should be able to talk ground wave to anywhere in the world.
You should be able to pick up Havana, Cuba radio stations.
Yeah, I mean, I should get the repeater in Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
On 2 meters. So, you know, yeah, I don't, it's crazy. I don't know. But like I say, he's a nice guy and he has a compelling argument. I talked to him off the air for a little while and he is a nice guy and yeah, it is what it is. But anyway,
He just has a loose screw.
yeah, there you go. I'm going to put it back out there. Does anybody have anything else they want to bring up? Someone is breathing into the microphone. I'm not sure who
Dave.
it is.
It's Dave.
All right.
Sorry.
It's all right. NASCAR called. They want that headphone back.
I got too much gain, I think, maybe.
Really?
Yeah, but when you blow those boom mics that come around, whenever you breathe out your nose, they always do that. The only way to fix it is to put the mic above your nose, or like really face it out far, or put a wind break.
Your modulation is high, so you don't need the mic right in front of your mouth. We'll hear
Oh,
you just
okay.
fine.
So how about that? Is that better?
That's perfect.
Yes,
Yeah, it's
that's
perfect
fine.
right there. Yeah,
And,
that's
and
good.
can you hear me breathing now?
No.
No,
No.
you need to keep the mic.
Good.
That's perfect. You need to keep it away
Yep.
from you.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so does anybody else have anything else they would like to discuss, bring up that we can talk about? I'm just so glad that the one thing Dave brought up, I actually had an answer for.
Yeah, it's a good answer as well. Thank you.
Oh yeah, it's right in your.
I've been thinking I might need to get one of those because I've got a lot of different audio devices, a lot of different, I need to actually get one because whenever I'm doing interface stuff with the computer, I need to send audio back and forth between 3 different radios or whatever. If I can have all those hooked up all the time and just a mixer, and they only cost like $30, I mean,
Yeah.
that's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Pile one here. I think it will do the job.
Yeah.
So,
A
And
lot of those have
it's cheap enough to try.
yeah, oh, absolutely.
if you
and
notice, a lot of those have the large diameter plug. I think those are like the music style of
Yeah, the 1/4-inch jack.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it goes from 1/4 to 8. I was just going to show you guys. This is something we deal with at work all the time, but some of them come with these adapters,
Yeah.
and
I got
some
two
don't.
of those around here.
And if they come with these adapters, you're like me. I got a whole box of this.
I
stuff.
got a bag full of them.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. I got a bunch of those around here too.
But yeah, I keep a lot of that kind of stuff around. But definitely. Yeah. So I even got to the point where I got all my little parts and adapters in here, and I bring this to the swap shop just in case somebody needs some. But I even have my own little pair of pliers in here in case I can't get a little SMA plug off.
That's nice.
And my own little baby Phillips screwdriver that I bought from the swap shop. All right. Anyway, all right. So nobody has anything else right now. Let's go ahead. Go back over Cha. I will tell you guys, not to be rude, and I promised I would never do this when I started this net, but I'm not going real late tonight. I've had the week from hell. My back's still a wreck, and I'll leave it on as long as you guys want. But I'm going in about 45 minutes or so, probably.
That's
All
fine.
right.
I'm going to bed too, 'cause I'm gonna leave tomorrow early and drive all day, so I can't stay up either.
All right. So, ham radio news. There's not a whole lot in news. I will tell you guys the terrestrial weather outlook's great. Mostly for those of us that are not leaving tomorrow. But yeah, look at this, man. Look how cool it's going to get. So yeah, I just thought I'd bring that up. And no rain really in the forecast till we get out towards Thursday of next week. All right. Tropics are quiet. Nothing there. Far side solar activity. We have one that's still bellowing out some crap there, but not really anything that's really directed at us. Um, there was one. I think it was this one. It exploded yesterday right over the limb, right over where you couldn't see it anymore. Yet it still caused a radio blackout over one of the oceans. So that was kind of interesting. That even though it was not even on the side of our side of the sun, it still caused a short radio blackout. And the only other thing in space weather is the comet Leonard, whatever it is coming. It's the brightest comet of the year. It's heading for Earth. So if you're a comet watcher, this is the one. In December 12th, it'll be just 35 million kilometers away. That's just right in the neighborhood, folks. You could walk. This is what it looked like last night over here on the lower picture. And then of course he did like a reverse thing there for the insert. And on the insert there, it reveals a narrow jet of gas emerging from the comet's atmosphere. Do you see that? It's like a line right there. It's pretty cool. This thing is, it's going to be one to watch. I mean, it's going to be out there for like a month. So I just wanted to make sure you guys knew there was one out there. I didn't know if any of our regulars here are comet watchers or have a refractor telescope or anything like that. All right. And there's some contests this weekend. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. There's also the 1010 contest. I don't even put that on anymore because you got to pay money to do it. And I don't, if you got to pay money to do it, then I don't do it normally. It's kind of a weird thing. It's a hobby. But anyway, that's what we got. There's also about 10 other contests that are lesser than these, and they're all on our contest page if you want to see them. Got a great calendar there that shows you each contest and where it falls on the calendar. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's on the website. Go under resources and then contesting. Let's see. The Dayton Hamvention up in Ohio is a go. This has been a big deal because they didn't know if this one was going to go or not. It was canceled last year. And so this is like a big deal this year because they didn't know if it was going to go or not.
Skyline Chili.
Oh man, we talked about that tonight on the air. Did you listen? Did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we
That's where
literally
I heard about it. It was the Dayton Hamvention.
Yeah, some woman called and said they were going somewhere and they were not in Cincinnati, and her husband asked if they were going to do a three-way, and I guess it was taken wrongly by the other people that were in the room. Not that kind of three-way. This three-way is without onions. But anyway, but yeah, it was a funny story the lady told. My host is from Ohio. I think he's from he's from Cincinnati because he hates Cleveland. He talks about they should just scrape it and start over or something. I don't know, but
one of the things he says about Cleveland, that must be a god awful place.
Or I think it's a little of that and a little of jest because they're rival cities up there. But
yeah.
Anyway, the popular DV magazine, the DATV magazine, is ending its publication. The reason I bring this up, and I got the link in the newsletter, and you can go to the newsletter link on the website and get the link for this. They've went ahead and put all their editions out for free. So you can just go in, their entire lineup of magazines, digital magazines is online for you to see for free right now. So I just wanted to put that out there. Anytime there's a bunch of free stuff available out there, I like to put that out. And the last thing is Ireland and India joining Parks on the Air. I thought that was kind of cool. I love the Parks on the Air. I think it's a fun thing. When I was up in Georgia, I made a bunch of POTA contacts, both FTA and, believe it or not, 2-meter call. I made, I think, 4 or 5 POTA contacts on 2-meter call. I don't think we'll be making Ireland and India contacts on 2-meter call, though.
No.
All right, and other than that, that's about it, guys. You know the rest of these. I'm just going to run through them. The connected repeater system is working. They're still working on it. There's some glitching, but it's actually doing pretty well. And The net on the net. I felt so bad for the net controller on Monday because it was rough go. Um, yeah, I felt bad. I was like, oh man, because he was doing a good job. And it was just like, oh man, it's like
Yeah, he
click
had his
click.
hands
Everybody
full.
was just he did have his hands full. I felt being a net controller myself sometimes. I felt bad for him. I'm like, oh man, that
You know,
sucks.
you almost need to listen on two different ones.
Yeah.
I do that sometimes. That way I can tell if I'm competing with somebody else when you key down. I usually go in on 220, but some of the ones that are going in on some of the 2 meter frequencies don't hear some of the stuff that's going on. So I guess Rich Schneider's has got his work cut out for him. He's the one that does all that programming and everything.
One of the guys on the Sunshine Net has VHF in one ear and UHF in the other ear.
Yeah.
And then when he talks, he hears himself coming back in the one ear, so he knows it's going out. So that I always thought that was pretty cool, a pretty good idea. And the Sunshine Net, as you know, can go 2 or 2.5 hours. That's probably the longest net in Southwest Florida, right there. Let's see here. You guys know about all the nets? See if there's anything new on here. I don't think so. Okay. And I want to mention the buck and a quarter net. There was a bunch of folks this week. I think there was 14 or 16 of us this week. That one's been doing pretty good because this one is in that connected repeater system, so you don't even have to have 220 to be on that net. And Alex, that's who I couldn't remember his first name. Alex WA4WDV. If you're on, forgive me. But anyway, sometimes he watches this on YouTube. But he is the one that donated this receiver that we're going to be using for the SSTV project coming up real soon. And the windmill net, 10 meter newbie net. There's the Yaezu. I leave it spelled like that only because I know that it makes your whole night. And then you got the Cape Coral Simplex Gab net and the Digital Practice net. I recommend these. Joseph and I have done both of these. I do the Gab Fest every week if I can. What's cool about the Gab Fest is it starts at 8:00. I get out of work at 8:00 on Thursdays, and so I've been using my big new 2 meter antenna that I got on my van. And what I do is I'll pull out and I'll drive slow going up the bridge because there's nobody behind me. It's 8:00 at night, and I'll drive slow until it's time to check in. Then I'll get right to the top of the bridge and I'll be like, KO4 EFS checking in, and they'll be like, I heard him clear up in Punta Gorda. I bet you did. Oh man, that bridge has got to be up 2,000 feet in the air or something, right? I mean, it's
So good.
I'm like, I wonder if I could sit up here for the whole net without getting a cop behind me.
Like I did that one time going over the Sunshine Skyway. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was a thing we used to do at the fire department all the time. Was we would literally, anytime we were going up to anything we were going to up in Tampa, St. Petersburg area, and we were going over the Skyway. We would always try to contact Lee Control back here in Fort Myers and do a radio check from the Sunshine Skyway. Now, government VHF system, our tower, it was a 150 watt transmitter. It sat on top of the tower that was at about 385 feet. And it was a blowtorch. I mean, God knows it was a hell of a thing. And it worked great around here, but it didn't go farther north than about the Peace River. And it started, really breaking up. And by the time you got up out of Charlotte County, you were too far away. But you get up on that Sunshine Skyway Bridge at 5,000 feet in the air or whatever that freaking thing is. It's so high up in the air. It's so high in the air, you can't see the earth anymore. And when you're up there, other than all the wires, I don't know how that does, but I always get up there and I call Lee Control radio check on the Sunshine Skyway. You're 10-2. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm always 10-2 because I'm like almost in space. But anyway. And we all had coil loaded 5/8 watt permanent mount antennas on our vehicles, so those actually did really well. It had like the coil on the bottom, and then it had a spring, and then it had the 5/8 whip.
Yeah.
and it would screw right onto the permanent mount cap, whatever they call it. And they worked really well. I got to tell you that. I mean, we'd be out in the middle of the woods, 30 miles from the tower, and we're still able to get some help. So, all right, that's really about all I got here. Let's see. You guys know about the newsletter? I told you about the changes to the newsletter. It's PDF format now. You guys were all here earlier. If you want to co-host TechNet, let us know. We're looking for people to do that. And someone contacted me a while back about doing one of the digital modes, and I lost the email, or I can't figure out who it was, but I'll figure that out. Hopefully they'll get a hold of me again.
JS8 call.
I think it was JS8 call.
Yeah.
I'll figure out who it was. If it was you, just send me another email because I'm stupid.
Yeah.
Um,
I'll message you that.
I don't think it was you. I don't know though. I don't know. But anyway, if someone wants to do it, or if you sent me an email previously, don't take it personal. Just send me another email. Swap Shop. I didn't change the date on here, but it's coming up. Oh no, that's right. It's coming up tomorrow. I do not know if I'll be there or not. I know Joseph won't be there. So just putting that out there. The club repeater. We actually talked for a while today on there. Rick and I talked for like 25 minutes on there while I was driving out through the Cape. That's a great repeater. I talked to you all the way down to Del Prado and the Midpoint Bridge on my handheld inside the van with the regular stock rubber duck antenna.
It's pretty good.
Now, it was my higher wattage portable. I was using my my UV9000 TYT, which is 10 watts, which on the Chinese conversion scale is about 7.25.
Yeah.
But that's still that's pretty good.
But that's enough to get into that repeater.
Yeah. It's not a bad repeater. It's not up in the sky too high, but it does pretty good. All right, opening it back up. Does anybody have anything they want to bring up?
I do.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Joseph.
Share my screen here.
Yeah, Joseph will have some mountains to play with up there.
Oh
Yep.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
every time you share your screen, it pops up on a different one of mine. I never know where it's going to pop up.
Yazoo.
Yazoo.
Yay. Yazoo.
Yazoo.
Have you ever called Yazoo out in California?
Yesu.
There you go.
So that's how I say it.
The young lady in California that answers the phone says it's Yaesu.
Yazoo.
Yeah.
I say Yazoo.
yeah.
There, Yazoo. That's how I say it.
Yazoo.
That's how I say it. Or I either call it Yazoo or Yezu. I don't know.
No, you
Yazoo.
call it Yazoo. Most
Yeah.
Yazoo. Well, that's what
Yazoo
you
City,
just showed me. Yazoo. It's Yazoo's correct, is it not?
No.
You
The whole
just
point.
you just showed me a chick saying Yazoo. You just showed a chick saying Yazoo.
That was the second thing I showed you.
Isn't there a Yazoo City in Mississippi?
I'm happy to be vindicated.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I drive a Subaru.
There you go.
Look. Yesu. Pronounced Yesu.
Yazoo.
I drive a Dadaja.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna be heading tomorrow down, up northbound, up interstate. I'm gonna have, the call channel on 2-meter and the CB. I'm gonna put a sign on the back of the car. It says, "Call me on 146.520," and we'll see if anybody calls me.
That's a good idea.
I will say, a couple trips ago and 2 trips ago, I did okay, but last trip I didn't get that many on the highway. There you go.
You able to see it?
But that's only for Kenwood people. I want to talk to Yazooers too.
I didn't have time to get one of those stickers. That's what I ultimately need.
Yeah, 2-meter call is worth listening to when you're on the highway. The couple times we were in traffic, I picked it up and I said KO4 EFS northbound in traffic listening, and somebody came back every time. Pretty much when I called out. but I didn't hear a lot on it. I mean, it wasn't a lot. The few times I called out when there wasn't traffic or anything, I didn't get anybody. But when you're in traffic, there's a lot more potential for radios being within range.
Yeah.
And also, a lot of times people will turn them off, and then when they get in traffic, they'll turn them back on to see if they can hear what's going on. So I think that's a lot of it. But I wish we still had more 2-meter on the interstate. I wish it was more like our CB radio, type
I
of
really
thing.
think we need a national travel frequency. We have a calling frequency. I think we need a travel frequency.
Maybe it's the same thing. I don't know.
I mean, they're
I'll
kind
get
of
on
used
the road, I'll
interchangeably.
put on 1465 too and listen to that.
Yep. Well, I with my big antenna that I got on the van now, man. Oh, geez, it was doing so good. I couldn't believe how good it was. What I ended up doing when I was in the cabin was I got a piece of 25-foot low loss cable that I ran down through the thing that I put in there to get wires out, and I just run it out, and I leave it laying next to where the car parks. And then when I back the car in, I just unhook it from the Alinco 110 that I've got shoved into the dashboard, and I unhook the antenna and run it out the door and hook it up to the coax that goes into the cabin. And then I've got a alligator clip that you're not gonna believe. I clip an alligator clip on the ground, on the outside of the ground, and I clip it to the muffler so that I make sure I got a good counterpoise. And that thing works like a rocket up there. I mean, I was talking to people simplex 40 miles away, mountain to mountain. It was amazing stuff going on up there. So
Yeah. You get
you don't need a really big antenna up in the mountains. You just got to have a really good antenna. And by grounding the car out and using it, even though my radio was in the house, I grounded the cable to the car, and that seems to provide a good counterpoise. I'm told that if the magnet's stuck to the roof, it'll provide counterpoise. I've also been told that the magnet stuck to the roof does not necessarily provide counterpoise. So I don't know. That's one of those things where the jury's kind of still out. But I figured if I ground the shielding of the wire at the couple point to the muffler of the car, I should have a good continuity.
quieter that way anyway.
Yeah. And of course the car's not running or being used, so it's just
Yeah.
sitting there being a counterpoise.
Being a ground.
Yeah. Oh, I love that kind of stuff though, man, because when you go up to the mountains, all of a sudden it doesn't matter how high I get anymore. I'm already on a 3,000-foot mountain.
Yeah.
Now it's the fact that the mountains between me and the wherever I'm going or whatever, that ends up being the problem. I don't know if I ever showed you guys. I don't know if I can find them real quick here, but I actually my aircraft thing was really crazy up there. The pattern that it put out, because I have mountains on two sides of me, and so because of that, it ends up skewing. I could have swore I saved one of these, but I don't know what I did with it. But it ends up skewing the results. Like I can get planes south of me for 150 miles, but I can't get planes north of me
Just something
more than
wild.
about 40 miles away, and that's it. It's crazy because right behind me the mountain goes up another 1,000 feet before the top.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
only getting about probably not quite. I'm getting about 140, 150 degrees of clear horizon, and the rest of it is all mountain obscured. And that's just yeah. I'm not gonna be able to find these, but whatever. I don't know where I would even put them. But anyway, what it did was it put out a really interesting pattern where you know how you can set the aircraft thing to show you the outline of whatever your signal receive area is. When I put it here, I get a fairly consistent pattern. I can kind of see where my power line is. I can kind of see where my obstructions are a little bit on the pattern. When I'm up there, it's very pronounced. It's like this big huge gash taken out of it. It's crazy. So it's very interesting.
To see what Joseph sees from Huntsville. He's probably
Yeah.
going to see
Oh,
a lot
yeah.
of traffic from Atlanta coming over there, but it should be pretty interesting. You got mountains, I think, on 3 sides. I'm trying to remember.
There's a track coming out of Atlanta Airport there. It comes out of the airport. The planes come out. They take off heading towards the east. They turn
Yeah.
the northeast and they head up towards the northeast.
Yeah.
There's a plane on that track every 2 minutes. And when you watch them on the thing, you see it down here sometimes where you'll see 3 or 4 planes all running about 2 minutes behind each other down the exact same lane. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Up there, it'll run constantly for
Oh,
25 minutes. You'll just sit there and watch every 2 minutes. And there'll be 6 or 7 of them on my radar, all going up at the same time. And then the top one will disappear, and the next one, and there'll be another one. And there's this constant train of aircraft going from Atlanta to the northeast.
Yeah.
It's crazy, and a lot of them are those big planes, those 777s and those Dreamliners and shit. But man, oh man, just some cool stuff. Anyway, I love my aircraft tracker, guys. Once Joseph and I got it working here, I have to have it now. When I go on vacation, I hook it up at my cabin. That's how bad it is. I got to have it up. So I even have it up here. If I'm in my bedroom at night and I hear a plane flying around or a chopper, I'll dial into that computer so I can see what the hell it is. That's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, you would go crazy in Atlanta.
I would love to just hook it up in Atlanta and just check it out for an hour.
Yeah.
You know, just see what it looks like in Atlanta. I had thought about it. I drive. That's the thing. My wife, I drive the 11 hours nonstop with just 3 stops. You know, so I can't really do this. But if I was riding, if someone else was driving, I would have set my antenna up where I could have stuck it out the window, and you know, I'd have had a little short wire on it with my SDR, and I'd have stuck it right out the window, and you know, and that'd have been because you drive right under the air pattern, you know, with them landing. They're literally like touching over the top of 75 when they're coming in and going out. It's pretty dramatic up there. Yeah, Hartsfield, Atlanta Hartsfield. That is I believe one of the top 5 busiest airports in the country.
Oh, it's second busiest airport in the world now.
Is it really? Wow. It's Delta's. It's of course Delta's hub, and it's a bunch of other hubs.
It was the busiest for a while, and I think some airport in China outdid it. But it is it is in the top 3 or 4. It is probably number 2, but it is extremely busy.
Yeah, it used to be second to Heathrow in London, but it's like you say, it's up there.
Yeah,
that's a crazy airport. I've hubbed through it, I think 3 times, and you always end up on Concourse A, and you're in Terminal 37 way down at the end. And
get on the train.
And I ask them, I'm like, where do I got to go next? And they go, what first thing you got to do is hurry.
Yeah, no shit.
Get on that moving platform and walk as fast as you can. You know what's really cool about walking really fast on a moving platform? You're doing like 40 miles an hour. That's what's really cool about it. I'm like, I've never walked this fast in my life. I feel like that guy on Terminator. You know, but anyway.
I like the going under the, you know what I learned? There's that one of the hallways you walk through where it's like a jungle and they've got the colored leaves on the roof with the nature sounds playing. That actually cost them. You never been there?
Where, Atlanta Hartsfield?
Yeah, Atlanta Hartsfield.
I've hubbed through it 3 times, but I haven't been there in 20 years.
Oh, maybe it wasn't there.
They got a train now.
Yeah, they got the plane train.
That may be where the MARTA train.
Plane train.
Yeah.
No, they have a room. If you choose to walk instead of taking the train, you'll go through like 3 or 4 different like rooms that are kind of like art exhibits, sort of, where it'll have like history of something.
I think I know where you're talking about.
One of the rooms has this overhead art thing, and I learned how much it cost them to make it. It was like an absurd amount of money. It was like $2 million or something to make this art exhibit. I'm gonna pull up a picture of it here. And I couldn't believe how expensive it was, considering that it's just a bunch of laser cut pieces of aluminum colored in different colors with speakers playing noises and like lighting. I mean, that should have cost $2 million.
You know, that $2 million could have run fresh drinking water to all these poor people in North Fort Myers.
Oh yeah, you gotta go get your water here. Like this
You
thing.
guys
here.
have no idea. I live in North Fort Myers, and there's about 25,000 people that live up here on wells, and the county will not put in. They won't put in mains. They won't. We have I have water 2 blocks away, but they won't run it down here because it's only run to businesses in this area.
That's crazy.
Yep, no water. I'm on a well, and it sucks, and I fill water bottles everywhere I go.
But see this thing?
Yeah.
That cost them
Oh,
such a gigantic amount of money.
Must cost a fortune just to put it up.
And then
That's what I'm saying. It cost them just so much money.
I think you're looking at this the wrong way, Joseph. You have to respect their creativity. Nobody could piss away $2 million like that, like they can. I mean, look at the creativity that was involved. I mean, you can't literally just burn the money. You have to find something really cool to do with it.
Well, it must have worked because we're talking about it.
That's right. That's right. And we're all culturally deeper somehow now. Thanks, $2 million.
I'm wondering if that's on the North Concourse, because that's the international one. Because I haven't seen that. I sure have been through that airport enough.
Yeah, that's exactly what I need to do when I'm running from one concourse to the
4
other.
million, yeah.
$4 million to build this thing.
Oh, well, give or take $2 million.
I just can't believe that it cost $4 million. I mean, the leaves themselves are made out of what must be just laser cut sheets of
Hartsfield Jackson.
paper.
Maybe they're made to be made out of gold.
And they've got colored lights, and they have a few little side-by-side yellow LEDs to look like eyes, and they have speakers playing bird noises, and that cost them $4 million. I mean, they had their room in their budget for this. I mean, it's cool, but $4 million? That should have cost like, I don't know, but not $4 million.
Airport art installation coming to life.
Isn't that ridiculous?
That's chump change compared with the military, though. That costs us $1 million a second.
Yeah, but at least at the end of the day, it's doing something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Here,
I
all
have
you got is
confidence that
perfect merge.
if we get attacked, they will repel that attack. I feel confident in that. With this, I could walk down that entire hallway and still not be relaxed. And for $2 million, I better get really relaxed.
And I mean, the only, when you see this, you're not gonna be paying attention to it. You're gonna be trying to get to your gate.
And what's weird is, you ever been on those escalators? That is really a strange feeling because they're so long.
Oh yeah, I've been on those.
And everybody knows the way to relax before a flight is to drink too much.
That's right.
I will say the Atlanta airport, it has a PF Chang's in it, and sitting by the window eating PF Chang's while watching the planes go by is pretty cool.
Yeah, you should not eat Chinese food before a 12-hour flight because you will be shitting up that plane.
I was fine.
I'm just putting it out there. I love Chinese food, but it shoots through me like grease in a duck.
Geez, you could wind up like one of our public officials emitting gas before the royalty of England.
There you go.
He fell asleep during that that presentation, but I can't really blame him.
All right, if we're gonna if we're gonna talk about other things, let's go ahead and end the YouTube part of this. Does anybody have anything else before we?
Yeah, I've got a couple of things. I've just done some maths on that, and in 1 year, that cost every single passenger that went through Atlanta Airport 26 cents. There
Which
is
doesn't sound like a lot, but that is a lot.
107 million passengers went through Atlanta Airport last year, and it employs 63,000 people.
Yeah.
Wow.
So $4 million, you know.
Is a proverbial drop in the bucket.
Exactly. Okay,
They employ the same number of people that are in North Fort Myers, just for the record.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, that's double the population of Wyoming, but we won't go there. I've got one thing. On Wednesday night, coming, the Amateur Radio Association of Southwest Florida, we have a monthly tech meeting. Not as good as this one, but it's okay. And this Wednesday at 7 o'clock, we are having Clint Beresford. He is He is the liaison officer between AMSAT, NASA, and the AARL, and he's going to be talking about satellites and how that we can work them with what we've got. I've seen the lecture. He's actually got quite a good sense of humor. He's a good guy. And if anybody wants to join, there's a link there. If you want to copy that link, that'll get you in. It's run like this net. You can come and go as you like. No problem. I'm the host. And all are welcome. And it is a really good talk. So if you want to have a go at satellites, just log in. You can do it with your Baofeng. You can do it with your little Yaesu handhelds or whatever. You can do it with really no expense. We've got everything that we need if you've got a handheld to work the satellites. So,
Dave, in the future, if you get me those ahead of time, I will put them in our newsletter. I don't compete. I will put everything in there for all the other tech nets too.
Well, I send you the newsletter, and it's in our program. But
okay,
I know
and
you're too busy.
I don't know if I went. I did get your newsletter, and I did scroll through it, and I actually saw that you had us in there, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, I feature you on the bottom of all. At the bottom of the newsletters are like the committee members, all the regular stuff, and I've put the Florida TechNet is in there every. Sometimes I do 2 a week, sometimes I don't do 2 for 2 weeks.
That's kind of how I try to get one. I try to do one on Friday. Truthfully, the news doesn't move very fast in ham radio.
No.
It's hard in 7 days to find 3 or 4 good news stories to put in there. Most of mine is other stuff. It's space weather, terrestrial weather, hurricane weather, DX reports, contests. I have to put all that other stuff in there because it interests everybody. But truthfully, there's only one page of actual ham radio news in there. There's just not a lot of news. So
and what I try to do is not have pictures because that becomes complex for somebody else. If they want to take it on after me, I'm hoping they will, because our newsletter was a disaster up until I took it on. So I basically keep it as simple as I can so that it won't discourage people from taking the job on. But, it'd be nice. Everybody's welcome, and it really is a very interesting talk. So
I got to tell you, putting this latest one together that I just did with with Google Docs, and then turning it into a PDF, I was so impressed with how easy it was. I literally, if I'm doing something on whatever, if I pull up spaceweather.com, I just drag that picture over and drop it, make it the size I want, put it up in the text. It's so simple. I would be glad to do it. I would show you everything I do one day if you want. We can dial up on here and just I can show you how I do. I know I understand there's a lot to be said about simple. Unfortunately, that's just not me.
Yeah, well, we use Google Office or whatever it's called for our whole club now. So we've gone on to Google Docs. We use Google Sheets for our database our. So now, instead of having 3, like we used to have, the secretary had one, the treasurer had one, and there was another for all sorts of things. Now we all use the same one. As I put it, we're all singing out the same hymn book. So everybody can register on to the Google. I love it, and it's free, Yep. Well, kind of.
Well, I'm now going to start paying whatever it is, $6 a month, because I've got a lot on there, and they're starting to want me to pay something.
Oh, because you use their space?
Yeah, I've got 25,000 pictures on there right now. I think I've got all kinds of video, but they're starting to charge for that now. So what I have on there, they're not going to charge me for, but any of the new stuff. And I'm getting to the point now where after about 6 months of this new policy, I'm going to have to start paying now. But I don't mind because I've honestly, it's hard to complain. I've had it
Yeah,
free for years. I've been using Google, all the Google services, absolutely free. It's really hard to complain. It really, I mean,
yeah, and
they're
well, you
wanting like
get
$5 a month. It's not a lot of money.
no, we get I think it's 10 gigs of storage for free,
15
and then 15
to
is it?
start. Yeah, to
Yeah,
start.
and then after that you got to start paying. So we're nowhere near that yet, but we do pay for Zoom. We pay for Zoom.
I pay for Zoom out of my pocket here too. So we,
Yeah. So what's interesting is with Zoom now, I do our nets on Zoom. You know, we have our Tuesday nets. We have the 6 meter patients net at 6:15, and then we have our regular net at 7. I put those on Zoom, so anybody wants to log in, no audio, but they can see. And our club actually likes it. People like it. They like to be able to see people, even though we're
Right.
doing a 2 meter net. They can see a picture of what's going on, and they
That's a
like
pretty
that.
cool idea.
Yeah,
I did try a hybrid thing at one time, but unfortunately, we got a guy down here that runs egg timers on us and actually run us off the air. But it happens.
yeah, I know.
I wanted to see. I'm trying to get a comprehensive list of all of the nets, and this is what I got here. This is
Yeah, I see you've got us in there.
yeah, I
Tuesday.
got this one here. That's you guys right there, Collier
Yeah,
County Air. Is that correct? And
yeah,
then I think I got. Let's see. This is you guys. Yeah, the 6 meter FM propagation net.
yeah,
I got these out of your newsletter. I just want to make sure you guys are still doing these.
yeah. No, we're still doing that. You did miss out the every morning net at 9 o'clock. There's the pharmaceutical net on 8:20.
Yeah, I think you got it.
Oh, you know what? I don't think I. Yeah, I don't have. Is that the same as the pharmaceutical net here in Lee County?
Yeah, that's your net.
Okay.
Well, the 820 is right down here. It's almost down to the Lee and Collier border.
Yeah,
So
I know.
actually,
It's a little trip for me. I know.
yeah, but it covers Collier quite well.
Yeah.
So in fact, I don't think they have a net controller, but the unofficial net controller is Mark AC4ZM, and he lives right down in Golden Gate. So
He does the digital net, doesn't he?
that's right. Yeah, he does the digital
Yeah.
net on a Thursday. Yeah. Well, he's on our board. He's a board member of our club. So,
Okay,
you know,
and I'm trying to see if I had any other ones on here for you. But if I'm missing that one, I'll get it on here.
yeah. Well, that's that's not yours, I guess. That's the
Well,
Fort
I've
Myers
got
net.
that. I actually have that net on my graphics, but I don't
Yeah.
have it on here. So I need to get it put on here as well. There's a lot of stuff going on in Southwest Florida. As long as you got a Yagi and you can get out and you can get the stuff in 3 counties, there's a lot going on. There really is. So I hope this helps. I'm going to leave this in here every week, and I hope that it just helps to spark people's interest in it.
Yeah, for
But-
sure. Well, I try to get our guys interested, but unfortunately, we're a good 60-40 club. 40% are full time and 60% are snowbirds, but the majority are, I don't know, well over 80.
Yeah.
It's difficult to get them motivated to do anything.
Well, between that and you have the problem of you've got all the people that have been doing it forever and they do it like they do it, and the
Yeah.
same people just keep getting elected president over and over and over again. And at the club down here, you got 260 something members down here in this big club down here. 280 members, and like 12 people hold all 37 of the chairman positions. It's yeah. So
Yeah.
it's kind of an oligarchy, unfortunately. But that's why we do our own thing here, and that's what's great about this. And we still put their stuff out, and maybe one day they'll put our stuff out. We'll see. But anyway, we'll just go from there. I don't, whatever. You know what, dude? I'm at the point now where what we're doing here is not a local thing. I've literally come to the conclusion that what we're doing on this net is not a local thing. This is something that's for ham radio people anywhere that wants to join. I at first I was trying to make this a local group with local stuff and we're all going to get together locally. I can't find enough people locally that are interested in this.
Yeah.
And and when you got the clubs all out there, not the clubs, when you got at least one club out there telling people I wouldn't join that over there, it makes it difficult. Luckily,
Yeah.
we got other clubs that do put our stuff out and help us out, and that's awesome. The Cars group north of us also puts our stuff out and helps us out. Great group up there. K4FHP, I think, is the president up there, Dave. But anyway, it is what it is. And you know what's neat about ham radio is it's such a big pond, and there's not all that many fish in it. So let's just all swim. And that's where I'm at with it. I'm happy with where I'm at right now. This thing's going along. I kind of pictured. I know. I kind of honestly, Rick. I kind of pictured us doing build days by now, and having bylaws meetings and stuff by now. I'm still in a state of flux as to exactly. I don't know.
You have to ask the question: do you really need bylaws? That's.
Well, I needed bylaws to join the ARRL, but the ARRL blew me off and didn't get back with me for 6 months and never did. So I dropped their membership. You would think that they would at least write me back and say, no, we don't want your club. But instead they just ignored me. It is what it is. I guess you're only allowed one club in town that's ARRL. I guess it's kind of like Domino's.
Cartel.
They each got their own zone where they deliver pizzas. But anyway, it's all right. And the only other thing we need a bylaws for is if we want a club call. We qualify for a club call. All we need is 10 members and bylaws. And the bylaws can simply be one paragraph. They need to have 5 elements. Very simple. This group will have a very small footprint as far as the bureaucracy. I don't want any of it. We're going to do what makes us happy and not make it all about who's in charge. And that's basically it. And so I'm in a quandary right now on whether I want to go down this lane here where we push this more on a national level and we try to get more people involved nationwide, and I start taking some of my time and pushing it towards getting articles written in some of the big publications, digital publications and stuff for ham radio. We've got to start doing things to get this link out there so people can find us. That's where we run into problems. If I go really hard and I push it really hard, I can get 30, 40 people in here. If I just send it out to the regular folks, we get 10, 15 people in here like tonight. So it's one of those things where I think we need to have a footprint that's really large. And so that way we can still get 40, 50 people in here, have a great tech net, do everything we want to do. They don't have to be local people. I think where I've been screwing up all this time is thinking that we were going to find 100 local people that want to be a part of this net. And the other club has 280 members, but only 25 of them show up for a meeting.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
of course.
Even when they're on a Zoom meeting, there's only 35 people there. So there's just, I think what it is it's just the percentages in ham radio are really small. There's only a very small percentage of people that are in ham radio. It's a fraction of a percent of the population is in ham radio. And then when you figure only a fraction of those, maybe 10 or 20% are active. I saw a statistic, I don't know how true it is, but something like 1 in 4 people that register never pick up their first radio and program it and talk on it. The only right now that 8 or 9 of your licensees out of 10 are not joining the ARRL. And the ones that join the ARRL, only a third of them join for the second year. and the numbers go down from there. It's like, why we got to see what's wrong here. Why are these people not interested? Why did we not get them interested? Why didn't we spark their interest? You know? And so that my whole thing for this TechNet was to provide that missing link between these big teams where nobody really does anything, these big groups, and the 6 or 8 or 10 really active guys in town that want to do something. And now I'm starting to realize that we need to get all of us together around the country, few in each town, and get together and make a coalition of tech teams, basically. And that, and you know, and it's all very unofficial and all very, very low on authority and very high on just tech activity.
Doing stuff.
And that's, yes, exactly. That's what
we already have people. We got people in the Atlanta area. We got Joseph in Huntsville. We got people here in Fort Myers. So, you know, we just keep doing that and we'll move along.
Well, and Joseph's already got a few friends up there, and we're already working on logos. He's going to start a tech team up there, just like ours. It's going to be the Northern Kentucky Tech Team, and yeah, it's going to be great. And I'm looking for other folks that may want to do it in their town, because it's not like there's something you have to do. It's just you start a tech team, you get some friends together, and you start hooking stuff up.
Well,
that's the whole idea.
It's a great place because you got all those rocket scientists up there.
There you go.
Yeah, that's for sure. Okay, I'm going to have to go, so I'm going to say good night. Best of luck, Joseph, in your escapades up there, and we'll look forward to seeing you again. Yeah, me too.
I like the sign.
I've got to disappear, so I'll say good night to you all. Great night again.
I think we're all going to be disappearing a little early tonight, if that's okay with you guys.
We got swap shop tomorrow.
Yep. I'm my back's hurting really bad, and I've had a really bad week, and I've got a headache going, so I'm going to go ahead and head out too. If you guys want to stay and talk, anybody wants to stay and talk, I will turn over co-host to you, and you can keep it on as long as you want.
No, I think
you guys all good?
I think I'm going to bed.
Hey,
Ian, and everybody, go ahead.
Rick, I just want to say, Joe, thanks for the presentation. It was excellent. I got a lot out of it, and stay in touch. You just do a great job. You and Ian and everyone over there, Rick, everybody. It's just a pleasure to me just to listen to you guys, and I learned so much, and just want to say thank you.
I'm so glad that you like it.
Yeah, I'm glad you get some. I'll tell you, it seems it works for me, so I'm hoping it's working for everybody else. I've learned so much from this TechNet. You know, I'm new at this. I've been a ham for 18 months now. So 17 months, I think. I don't know. It hasn't been very long. Still got the KO4 call sign. Which I'm gonna keep. I can't change it.
That's like I don't want to change my call because then I have to change my internet domain and my email and everything else. No thanks. Already been
with me. It's just I'm very possessive about things, my stuff, my things. I'm very protective of my things and my stuff. And for some reason, when that call sign was assigned to me, it became part of me. Yeah. And I'm having a real hard time. The other thing, I'm going to be honest with you, every single time I think of something that'd be a good call sign, it's taken.
Yeah.
It's taken. Yeah. There's some guy out there that's never used a radio in his life holding some 2x3 call sign. And it drives me nuts sometimes. It really does. Because I would love to have a better call sign for contesting and stuff. But when you look at the fact that there's really no good call signs available, I could probably drop one character if I don't really care what it is. Yeah. But if I start, I tried anything for FMY is gone. Anything for NFM is gone. Anything for, it's like, I couldn't find anything that would work. You know, what I really wanted was a W or a K start going right into a number and then 3 letters is what I really was looking for, but I couldn't find it.
Yeah.
Kind of like yours is, Rick. I like the 1x3. I was
Well,
hoping
I
for.
managed to get that. I'll tell you how I got that was in 97 when they opened up for advanced class operators, the 1x3s. Well, actually, and they also could get something like a AA4 RAB, but that wasn't available. So I noticed that Kate, and this my initials, that's why it is. So I managed to get that. You wouldn't believe what I did. I put the application, we didn't have it online then. I put it in, took it over to FedEx, and it arrived at FCC just at the right time.
That was back when it absolutely positively had to be there overnight.
That's right. It had to be at the right place overnight. So I hit the target then, and I applied for this call, and what was the other one? KW4RB, I think, and I didn't get it, so I got this one. I thought this is what I want anyway. So that's what it's been ever since. I had to get rid of the old nondescript WA4MPW, which is what I had before.
I kind of like a W call sign, but
yeah, I would have liked to have got. I would like
they're
to
even
have
they're
got
hard to
W4RB, but it was already taken, of course.
Yeah,
And
I wanted WKRP, but they wouldn't give it to me.
Oh, rats! I always
Joseph probably doesn't even know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I know.
You used to watch that at WKRP in Cincinnati?
Oh no.
God, no.
No.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, there was a show in the late 70s. Dr. Johnny Fever and Venus Flytrap were the
Believe
two.
it or not, it was patterned after an Atlanta radio station.
Yeah.
WQXI.
It was a show about a radio station. Let me just leave it there. And let me go ahead and end the YouTube on that note, guys. We'll catch you next week. I'm going to go ahead and end the YouTube. This is the Southwest Florida TechNet, SWFLtech.net for more information.